to episode 30 of Central Intelligence Cinema. We made it to 30! Today, we have a jam-packed intel report for you, but it comes with a big spoiler warning. There is a moment in this episode that is potentially highly dangerous to your overall knowledge of the story arc of Mission Impossible. So, if you don't want to hear it, please skip from 20 minutes 43 seconds to 22 minutes 7 seconds. We will give you one additional warning right before we talk about it. But at this point, consider yourself warned. And with that, let's do this. Take it away, Pierce.
Beg your pardon, forgot to knock.
Welcome to the CIC, initiating security clearance.
My name is Napoleon Solo. Bond. James Bond. Ethan Hunt. Felix Leiter.
Ilya Kuriaki.
Identity confirmed.
Now, pay attention, 007.
Welcome to Central Intelligence Cinema, a podcast dedicated to spy movies and secret agent pop culture.
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Remember, nothing ever goes according to plan.
Tom, what do you think you're doing?
Using the British handgun, sir. You expect me to talk?
Yeah, baby!
Coming to you from an undisclosed location that is so cool, because it's hotter than the sun outside. It's Central Intelligence Cinema Podcast. I'm Jason Greenberg, and with me, as always, Ben Esslinger.
Thank you, Jason. And welcome back to the CIC, the spy movie podcast that is 100% handcrafted, artisanally made, all organic, single-sourced, but from an undisclosed location.
Heck yeah.
How we doing, Jason?
I'm doing very well, Ben, and yourself?
I'm doing good. It's been a hot second since we've been together, so I'm really glad that you're actually here at the
undisclosed location.
At the undisclosed location, yeah. I had a little trip out to Ireland, actually, that delayed things a little bit.
Just a little.
and then I got COVID after Ireland at the wedding I went to in Ireland, so that was fun.
But you got Irish COVID, so it was different than American COVID like you had before, right?
Exactly. Wasn't nearly as brutal, to be honest. But we're back, and we've got some stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff happened. We've got 2 trailers for this intel report that we're going to cover. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 and the Russo brothers, The Gray Man. So in addition, we're actually going to have our first little mini review of a comic book, or I should say graphic novel.
You could say comic book.
Yeah. I mean, essentially it's 4 issues just slammed together into a quote-unquote graphic novel, but it's the King of Spies.
King of Spies.
Written by Mark Millar of Kingsman fame. Yeah. So that's exciting. And to keep it moving here, we've got shout-outs.
We got a lot of shout-outs. It's like our very first shout-out episode.
This is kind of our shout-out episode. While we were both away on assignment, I had some CIC ambassador duties, and I had the honor, I was really kind of surprised, but I was invited on the James Bond and Friends podcast for their one of their debrief episodes of The Spy Who Loved Me. So that was a lot of fun. It was interesting to try and button it up a little bit and not be my normal screwball self on this podcast.
Well, it'd be helpful that you didn't have, the court jester over here, dangling a little jingle bells on one hand and hey, the king on the other side. So,
Well, I mean, let's be fair. There were some things that I thought about for The Spy Who Loved Me that I realized very quickly were not appropriate for that podcast. When you're sitting next to 2 published authors, one of them of whom is a professor, you kind of go, wait, no, don't do that one.
The self-editing in full effect, right?
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's probably, I was actually thinking about having a whole section on this podcast about things omitted from things I was going to say on their podcast, but can't say them there. So I'm going to say them here.
Well, you can just save those for when we review The Spy Who Loved Me.
Indeed.
Because that's going to be an interesting episode.
Oh, contemptuous maybe even.
And in case anybody's wondering, out of solidarity for my ambassador here, I actually watched The Spy Who Loved Me while he was doing the recording. And let's just say, I would say that it hasn't aged well, except that it was probably complete shite when it came out. It's just 40 years old worth of shite now.
Ouch.
But
Well, I wholeheartedly disagree, but anyway.
You know what? It's a Roger Moore James Bond film.
That's right.
And I'll just leave it at that.
That's right. But moving on, we've got more shout-outs. First and foremost, thank you to Chris Walkden in the UK for his glowing 5-star review of the CIC. And I stand by my promises, and I hope he has since received the official CIC stickers that I sent him.
That's right, folks. We are not above bribery.
We are not above bribery in any way.
To get those tens of listeners out there talking about what they like and don't like.
And let me tell you something, kids. I now have more than just stickers. I've got magnets. I've got keychains.
You know, if you want,
so I've
5-star review. That's it.
That's all you got to do.
You
Just
go
get
on the computer for 10 minutes and say, "You guys are awesome," and then go star, 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 star.
That's right.
And that's it.
It's as easy as that. And that way, more people start listening to us because they can actually find our podcast somewhere. Also, another bit of ambassadorship, just a much more brief one, but huge thank you to Thunderball's radio show. They like to engage with their listeners and want people to request songs from different Bond movies that they like. And I actually requested a song. And they came back, they circled back, and they asked me to do a voice intro for the song. So I recently did that for the song Shanghai Drive off the Skyfall soundtrack.
Nice.
So, so they played that, and it was just great. Those guys are awesome. Love a Scotsman. How can you not? So also on that very episode of Thunderball's radio show, they interviewed Britt Eklund from The Man with the Golden Gun, so not too shabby.
Not at all.
So if you're done listening to this and you need something else, go over there to Thunderball's radio show.
And then when you're done,
you can go over to James Bond and Friends and listen to the debrief episode that I did over there.
Absolutely.
And by that point, we'll have a new episode.
That's right. But bear in mind, after you're done listening to this, do not stop this.
That's right.
And go do that, because you're going to lose the whole stream of consciousness thing that's going on here.
You're going to miss all the...
You're going to hate it. So just keep listening and then go and do those things.
That's right. You're gonna miss all the juicy tidbits we got coming at you.
Are they juicy tidbits or just tidbits?
They're just tidbits of intel.
I feel like everybody already knows a lot of this stuff, so they can't be that juicy.
Yeah, all right.
But they are tidbits.
You know,
we can stick with the
trailers have been out for a couple of weeks already.
They've been out for a little while.
Yeah, but you know. So should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Looking for a news story?
Impress me.
Transmitting CIC Intel dossier.
They'll print anything these days.
All right, so getting into it, the first thing on the dossier here is the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 trailer.
Can we make a longer title, please?
The people that are doing the titles for that movie must just be like, are you kidding?
Well, they're paid by the letter.
So that is releasing July of next year. What did you think? Just before we get into details, what did you think of the trailer?
Well, I think the trailer was engaging, but mostly it shows that it's a Mission Impossible movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got train fights, there's helicopters, there's a car chase with Tom and the good-looking girl.
Wonder who that could be.
We got Tom clenching his jaw. We got, what's his face? I can't remember his name. Being all, you have to do this, Ethan.
With Kittredge?
Kittredge with his enunciating of every single word. And, you know, you got your Luther, you got your Benji, you got your Ilsa with the Nick Fury eye patch.
So cool.
Yeah, so cool. And so everything that you want to have in a Mission Impossible movie. Even the ridiculous stunt that was clearly ripped off from another film.
That's right. Did you?
And don't forget the train. We'll be talking about that train.
Now, did you think that they showed too much?
Not really.
Really?
I mean, so what do you go to a Mission Impossible movie for?
Well, okay, you go for all the tentpole stunts and all that
You
stuff.
know what's going to be in the movie. They tell you absolutely nothing about what the movie's about.
That's true.
So they've given away nothing except for the fact that it is a Mission Impossible movie with Haley Atwell.
Starring Haley Atwell. For Jason Greenberg.
Only for Jason Greenberg.
See, I would have liked it if they would have saved at least, I don't know, 2 of those stunts so that when I go and see the movie, it's like it's brand new that I didn't know was coming. Because there were some things in there that were super vibrant that I did not see coming that I think I would have been okay with waiting until I actually see the movie next year.
I don't know. I feel like so much stuff has been released either intentionally or unintentionally at this point.
Yeah.
And it's taken so long to get it where it is. I mean, it's like when we finally started getting No Time to Die trailers. Mm-hmm. They showed all the good shit in the trailers, too. Mm-hmm. You didn't know what the story was about. But, well, I did. I knew he was going to die at the end. Spoiler. But anyway, it's about keeping people's interest. You have to remind them what the movies are about. So I feel like they kind of had to do that.
Yeah.
Because people are like, Mission Impossible. Wasn't that an old movie in like 2000 with with what's that guy's name? Tom Crutch?
Oh, well, I mean, I think Top Gun got rid of that fogginess, that brain fog.
No doubt. But I mean, you're going to ride on the coattails of that for sure. But at the same time, people just need to remember what the whole thing is about. I think it was actually a very well-crafted trailer in terms of wanting to make you go see it. Yeah. I mean,
it was smart in the sense that you're right. You don't know what it's about. You just know what's, big things that are happening.
Right.
But you don't have any idea what the story is whatsoever.
No, it's all events, no cause.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it involves some sort of a virus or a list or microfilm or, apparently all we've got smart blood. I know we've got some kind of world domination thing going on because Kittredge pretty much monologued right there in the middle of it.
Let's get into that real quick because I wrote down what he says.
Okay.
So Kittredge says, your days fighting for the so-called greater good are over. This is our chance to control the truth, the concepts of right and wrong for everyone for centuries to come. You're fighting to save an ideal that doesn't exist, never did. And then he says, you need to pick a side.
And then we get the jaw clench.
Yeah, and then we get the Tom Cruise, you haven't seen me very upset, circa, whenever the first one came out,
99.
Yeah. Which just felt so corny. It just lingered too long. That was the one part of the trailer I was just like, oh, don't. I mean, I know why it's so there. Weird. I know that they were literally just trying to reenact the whole, you haven't seen me upset. They were calling it back or whatever, but it's not going to fly in 2022.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that the jawline in question doesn't flex quite as well as it did.
Right. It's not quite
20
as
some odd years ago.
Slimlined as circa 99.
Yeah, it didn't have that same in-your-face effect of watching those muscles just clench and then unclench.
You get regenerated so many times, and after a while, it just kind of...
Exactly. You got to get a diminishing returns.
The copies upon copies just, So we've got all sorts of stuff here. So we've got desert scenes, which actually, those were some of the scenes that I found most interesting.
That was the other thing I forgot. Sandstorms. So that also makes it a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah. I
got a very Dune feel from those too, though.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, well...
Sand and Rebecca Ferguson?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's almost like they're like, hey, that looked pretty cool. Can we get that in our movie? Because that Tom Cruise does do that during movies, right? He's like, I saw this thing.
Oh, yeah.
We need to add that. It's got to be like another $2 million to the movie. It's all right.
I do love that shot though and I don't know for sure if it's Tom or who it is because he's got full goggles and a mask on, but the troops, the team sort of comes into that area in the desert. That looked really cool. I'm really interested to see how that sort of pans out. But we also have a shot in London very early on in a Citroen car, basically, with Haley Atwell. Yes. Looking very for your eyes only
Well, the whole scene was very for your eyes only.
Yes, because of the Citroen. Or I don't even know if it was actually a Citroen car or if it's just something very similar.
Little 70s European hatchback.
Yeah.
It was, so.
Yeah. And then one of the things that struck me about this, at 18 seconds in, I marked it on my notes. Am I literally seeing naked women in a trailer?
I think they were just in like skin-colored bikinis. The lighting in that was very direct.
Because they looked just buck naked.
They would have had, honestly, the MPAA would have red banded that if there was any.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So unless they just slyly got that past the censors,
right?
And those guys have nothing better than to count nipples and pubic hair. That's literally their job. I don't think it would have gotten past them.
Right. Anyway, it just looks like some sort of hedonistic rave. And then we get a couple shots that look really Bondian. There's that aerial shot that comes towards the train that's moving, which is so right out of the opening shot of Quantum.
Right.
And then we start hearing the stuff from Kittredge. And that felt like they show this computer graphic, these lines of forming kind of like a circle thing. And I'm wondering if that's just some sort of like hackery disinformation. I don't know.
It's the Benji stuff.
It's the Benji stuff. You can tell they're definitely trying to vaguely bring in current events, but vague enough that it's not going to be overly dated by the time, we see it in 10 years from now.
Yeah, exactly. 10 years from now is when it's going to release. Actually, so.
And then we get a very another quantum looking shot of Tom in a doorless car, like flying down the road. That looked right out of the pre-title from Quantum. Then we see Ilsa with the eye patch. We see a bad guy on a train that I honestly don't even know who that is.
Esai Morales.
Ah, okay.
You might know him from the Battlestar Galactica prequel, Cylon. I forget the Cylon thing, what it was. But anyway, he played young Commander Adama in that. He was also in Ozark's first season on Netflix.
Well, there you go.
Check it out on Netflix, folks. Good show.
Shows you how little I know.
This is what you keep me around for, Ben.
That's right. And somehow I conned my way onto James Bond and Friends.
Because you're the reasonable one. I'm the one who has to prove he knows everything. That doesn't sit well with people that actually do know things.
Anyway, we've got Haley Atwell on a train, and then we see Palm Clementif in a car chase. That looked pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
With the cable car type thing in the way, and she's driving what looks like maybe a Hummer or a Range Rover or something. I think she's going to be amazing. I've been following her on Instagram, and she's like just out skydiving and doing all this like super badass shit.
Sure, like you do.
Like you do.
When you got that Guardians of the Galaxy money.
I mean, the fact that she just, in her spare time is going skydiving gives me a lot of hope that she's going to be a super, super badass in this. And we get some quick shots of Benji and Luther, really just to sort of establish
that they're
going to be in the movie. Because they don't do anything in it. They're just running, or Luther's just looking concerned, like he does all the time.
You know why he's concerned?
Did he lose his meat?
He's worried about where the meats are at.
I don't have the meats.
Ethan. We don't have the meats.
Then we see a submarine. But we knew that. We knew that was coming.
We knew the submarine was coming. I'm glad that they decided to put it in there since they basically had to bump up the budget to put it in there.
Right. Well, and now, after how well Top Gun did, I feel like he's going to have all the money he wants.
After how well Top Gun did, he's going to end up flying an F-18 off of an aircraft carrier at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So we get a quick shot of the White Widow to let us know she's back. And then, so I'm going to mention something now that even if you don't mind spoilers to a trailer, you might mind this particular spoiler. And I'm saying right now, if you don't want to hear this, you should probably fast forward about 30 seconds.
Now, one other thing that we do have for this particular review of this particular trailer is that we actually have a bit of special intel that we received about a year ago from one of our special agents out there, codenamed Stephanie.
Codenamed Stephanie. Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
We have people everywhere.
We do, because We're the Central Intelligence Cinema Podcast. Duh.
Damn right.
But Agent Stephanie provided us with some interesting information of what may or may not have been scenes that were cut from the movie, that could be in the movie, could not be in the movie. We're not exactly sure. We've run it through a lot of our computers and had our analysts take a look at it, and most of them were able to confirm that it did come from the movie, but they can't confirm whether or not it will be in the movie or it's just something that ends up on the cutting room floor, because we don't really pay our analysts very well, and they don't really work very hard for us.
Right.
It's something we're trying to work on, but hey, we are so deep undercover. We don't get a lot of funding, and so we got to put those dollars where they need to be, which is in sound quality.
That's right. That is right. but we got some intel from our field agent Stephanie. She showed me some footage of the sword fight scene that you see in the trailer, because there's this brief moment where you see Ilsa pull out this giant sword, and then she's fighting with this guy on a bridge. So Stephanie sent me links to this footage that was clearly not for the press to see. And it kind of hints that this may very well be the last we see of Ilsa.
Only if she gets her head cut off, right? Because there can be only one.
I mean, the reason at the time when Stephanie first sent me this email, I was like, I don't know, the way that Mission Impossible movies run, they change things up until the very last moment that the movie's released. You have no idea what's going to happen. But then I watched the trailer, and I look back at the evidence that she gave me, and I got a bit concerned, I have to say. And on top of that, there's a shot in this where Ethan and Ilsa are in an embrace, basically, on it, looking very romantic, like they're having a relationship. And we all know what happens when the lead spy gets in a relationship with a girl in a movie.
Yeah.
Bad things tend to happen.
The wife comes in and shoots them. Hold on a second. Did I miss something? Did he not get is he not married anymore?
No.
To the girl? Okay.
No, because
I know that he sent her on her merry way.
Yeah, because in Fallout, she's basically married to somebody else.
Is she really?
Yeah.
I remember that. Probably because I don't remember any of these movies. Because I watched them twice and then moved on to other things. Oh, okay. Well, then all things considered, sure. One-eyed chicks are hot. Let's do it.
I mean, Ilsa's half the reason I watch these movies.
Yeah.
Kind of like Haley Atwell's half the reason you watch these movies.
Yeah. Well, and then
anything that she's in.
With Rebecca Ferguson, that's probably 90% of the whole reason I'm watching this movie. So,
yeah. And my whole hope, as I've stated several times on this podcast, is that I want her to take over the franchise. Mm-hmm. I want her to be the new Ethan Hunt because she's compelling.
Right.
In more ways than one.
And Ethan becomes the Anthony Hopkins.
Exactly.
/ Alec Baldwin.
That's right.
/
whoever
Lawrence
they find.
Fishburne.
I know.
/ Henry Zierney. I can remember his name, but I can never remember his character's name. / Angela Bassett.
Yeah. The list goes on and on.
/ John Voight.
I can't believe we almost forgot John Voight.
Can't forget John Voight. You know who else can't forget John Voight? Angelina Jolie. Moving on.
Yes, moving on. So we get more train fighting, and we see Ilsa with the sword, like I said. And we get Tom Cruise running, of course. I think there's at least 3 shots of Tom Cruise running in this trailer. 3 different different scenes, Tom Cruise running.
I feel like
that's
he's
what
like,
he do.
There's not enough.
I think,
Chris, I need you to write one more scene of me running.
I feel like with you're going to get exactly one more running scene
in every iteration.
In the second part of Dead Reckoning.
At some point, if they continue to make these movies up until like 25 or 30, he's running the whole time.
That's right. That's it.
And you got Luther Bath going, Ethan,
you got to slow down.
You got to slow down. Meanwhile, Benji's riding on an electric scooter. You just need to be smarter.
So then we get a really cool scene that maybe my favorite thing. But again, this is the thing that I almost wish I hadn't seen because it's so cool. There's that meeting where the guy's got the gas mask on with the gas mask, and then the green smoke like explodes, and like the sound work in the trailer itself is so good.
It is.
That moment is probably my favorite moment in the whole trailer.
It's so brutal how that thing blows up in the lady's face.
I know. It's just,
and I'm like, is that Haley Atwell that happened to?
Yeah, it's just,
they can't kill her. I'm not going to go see this movie then.
It's like point blank range.
Yeah, it was. I mean, shockingly brutal for a trailer.
Yes, absolutely. And almost a little brutal just for Mission Impossible in general.
Period. Yeah, absolutely. You know, what if instead of one of those things, they had everything? They have poison, they have microfilm, they have a list. They have a list of poisons on microfilm that...
Well, you know, I mean, this does feel like a kitchen sink movie.
I mean, they should have just called it Mission Impossible Dead MacGuffin Reckoning, and we would have been fine.
Indeed. Then we get another callback to Tom Cruise doing a magic trick a la the first movie. And then we get a lot of shots of Haley, but clearly not enough for Jason.
Never enough.
And then we get a pretty cool shot, actually, of Luther. Although somebody pointed out that shot looks like a Bond movie as well. A lot of Bond movie shots in this. But I mean,
how can you escape it?
You really can't. It's
the gold standard.
It's almost impossible to escape it.
You could say that it would be an impossible mission.
It would be. So yeah, this really cool shot of Luther. Well, I'm assuming it's Luther because he's scuba diving, but underwater. That's what he do.
Was he a little bulky, the diver? I don't remember.
Okay, he had some size to him.
Little bit of extra sausage in the casing there.
That's right. Okay. And then, of course, we get an old-timey train jumping off, or not jumping, but just running to the end of its course off a cliff.
On a bridge. That was incomplete.
But yet there was no DeLorean.
No DeLorean in the front, which means, folks, for those of you who saw the trailer that were thinking, we're going to get Christopher Lloyd in this movie, it's not going to happen, anyone. We're not in the movie. I'm just doing my thing.
We're not going back to 1955. We're not going to hear Huey Lewis in the news.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that.
We don't know that. You never know. They could bring him back.
We don't know anything. You could see the train go plummeting down to the end of this thing, and all of a sudden, little of like sparky fire lightning comes out at the end, and you're like, "What?"
That's right. They could have gone back in time.
We're only going to know when we watch it.
That's right. And then, of course, the final thing is the motorcycle jump that has been leaked almost a year ago, at least.
Oh yeah.
So that's been around a little while, and it still looks very much like the GoldenEye motorcycle jump. But of course, the whole gimmick behind the whole thing is that Tom's doing it.
Yeah, it wasn't Pierce Brosnan doing that jump, was it?
No. If there's one Bond actor that was...
It was Roger Moore. I know where you're going with this, and if there was one Bond actor who didn't do any of his own stunts, it was Roger Moore.
I disagree. I disagree.
No, I watched The Spy Who Loved Me. There wasn't a single thing. He did a couple of really bad high kicks, and that was it. Anything that required swinging, moving, or rolling, that dude's hair was totally different.
Wow.
But yes, Pierce is definitely a close second.
We'll agree to disagree. Anyway, and then we get the title card. So that's that. Yeah, again, very excited to see the movie for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's going to be better than Fallout. But then again, a lot of people think Fallout's the best, and I still maintain that Ghost Protocol. I just think that Brad Bird just crushed it.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Well, and you know what the problem is with two-parters? You're going to blow your wad on one or the other.
Yeah.
So, you have to wonder, is this the one where it's blown, or is it coming up?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be the very rare one that's like, nailed it both times, suck it, mic drop, off you go.
I mean, I certainly hope so. I don't want it to be a Matrix situation where...
Well, I could argue that the first Dune movie was amazing, but if they do the second one right, it's also going to be amazing, but neither will be either more amazing than the other because they are self-dependent. So really what it depends on is this: did we genuinely write a movie that had to be followed up by a movie, or are we taking one movie, making it much longer, a la The Hobbit, and splitting it into two pieces, which is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, do they have enough ideas? I mean, if you think about all the stuff that is in this trailer, all the things that you know are coming already, and then imagine they have to come up with a whole new list of things
on microfilm
of things that they have to then, one up what they just did. I mean, unless they're teasing things that are in part 2.
So I was thinking, what if some of that was basically a trailer for that?
Like, what if they're deceiving the audience and some of that stuff they're not even going to see until Dead Reckoning Part 2?
You know that in Hollywood, they always put in the trailers what ends up exactly in the movie. It never add footage or dialogue that never shows up.
Or change the background
or anything
to a shot that was only half CG done.
They don't take characters out of the movie and put other characters in that might entice them to come in, but then replace them with a guy in armor instead of the character he is when he's using his superpowers. They never, ever do that.
Never.
It's all honest. Hollywood is completely honest.
Well, whatever the case is, I'm very intrigued and I'm very excited. Me too. It was certainly not a letdown.
No, and I'm the only letdown is that they pushed it out till next year.
Yeah,
because they want that Top Gun money next year. Because there ain't going to be a Top Gun.
Well, they want the Top Gun money, and they wanted to make sure that they could get 8 done within a year of the next one.
That's fair.
So, anyway, let's move on.
Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
I'm sorry. The Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
Let's not forget the definitive article.
Indeed. Starring Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas.
You can stop there. Who cares else is in it? Well, that dude from Bridgerton? Woo.
Hey, he's going to be the Saint.
That's true, which means maybe he doesn't get to be James Bond, which I was kind of hoping he was going to get to be James Bond.
I still hope he's going to be James Bond. Anyway.
I think he's going to be a brilliant Saint. I'm going to say that right now.
Yes, absolutely.
He's definitely got Roger oozing out of him. He's just suave.
But even better looking.
Debonair. He's got that bitchin' butt. Never mind.
So this one's coming up this year. Thankfully, we actually get a spy movie this year.
Woo!
July 15th. So yeah, getting into this, what did you think, just overall, what did you think of it?
Russo brothers movie?
Yeah.
Boy, it's definitely got the Winter Soldier stink all over
it.
And it's a good stink. It's like Chanel No. 5 kind of stink.
What I really liked about it was the fact that the first time I watched it, I don't think I entirely appreciated it, but with multiple viewings, it got better for me. And that is always a good sign for me.
Yeah.
When something doesn't get old, it gets better.
Yes.
That's always a good sign, and that's exactly what happened upon multiple viewings of this trailer.
Yeah. For my money, I don't think you can get better action directors than these two guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're responsible for the 2 largest grossing movies in history right now.
Right.
And the 2 arguably the best Captain America movie, maybe not the second best because Civil War was sort of garbage, but it was a filler movie. They didn't have a whole lot to work with in there, but yeah, it just, the dialogue, the patter, the pacing, the cinematography, it all looks like they made that. It's got their stamp all over. It's like watching a Spielberg trailer. You know, in every scene, Steven Spielberg made that movie. You can look at this one and know the Russo brothers made this movie.
Yes.
And
the dialogue is just so good.
The part in the car.
I know.
Are you hurt? Well,
my ego.
My ego's a little wounded, but I mean, just everything about it screams that it's going to be awesome to watch.
Yes, absolutely. And that I get so tired of trailers that, especially spy movie trailers, that lack wit. And this is loaded with it all over the place.
Absolutely.
I mean, Chris Evans is wit incarnate, walking around in this.
It's the magic mustache. It really is.
It's the trash stash, as Ryan Gosling says so eloquently.
Totally.
Chris Evans looks like the bad guy in, was it Commando?
Yes.
He kind of looks like the bad guy in Commando with that
Bennett. Let off some steam, Bennett.
Blow off some steam, Bennett. It's just, but it's the worst stash in the best way.
It absolutely.
Only a guy that good looking can pull it off.
Exactly. It's what I call the Jim Gordon mustache, right? Gary Oldman can wear that mustache, right? Chris Evans can wear that mustache. Anybody playing Jim Gordon, J.K. Simmons wore that mustache, right? If you're playing James Gordon, you could wear that mustache.
Right.
Or if you're playing a character like Lloyd, you can wear that mustache ironically.
Exactly. Getting into the particulars of this, so we hear them talking about the Sierra program, which is basically they send someone in to do a job that when they can't send anyone official, a.k.a. the Gray Man.
Man, thank God it's not David Spade, because, he was pitching for Sierra for a while there. And, I'm sad because I don't have any guns. Here you go. AK-47s at Sierra. I also could use some grenades. We don't sell grenades at Sierra. Sierra, how about a nice canoe?
I feel like I read somewhere that they're trying to avoid calling him Sierra 6 in this particular installment of the movie.
Okay, for why? Is there a reason?
I think they're just trying to hold off on that because I think they want. I mean, I don't know for sure, but just from one of the articles that I read about this movie, it sounds like Sierra 6 might actually be part of the title of the next movie or something like that. I think they're just trying to build it up, kind of the way like in Casino Royale, you don't actually hear the classic, the name's Bond, James Bond, until the very end of the movie. I kind of get the feeling they're going to do the same sort of thing with calling him Sierra 6. Okay. I don't know for sure, though. But
I don't know. The whole kind of concept feels very Bournian.
Very Bournian, but I appreciate that it doesn't look Bournian.
No.
It looks like a Russo brothers.
Right. Well, it's like
it
looks like you took Jason Bourne's idea with Treadwell and crammed it into Winter Soldier without the robot arms and programming stuff.
Right, without the like brain changing sort of stuff. Yeah, so we get that moment when Lloyd and the Gray Man are fighting, and he's like, "How did you know I was Lloyd?" "Well, it's a trash stash. It just screams Lloyd." So there's that. Then we get this very Winter Soldier-y moment where a truck in broad daylight comes in, and the whole side of it flap comes up, and all the commandos come out, and they're all shooting him, and there's a grenade launcher, and just so. Oh my God! It's so.
I love the part in the bus when he's running and they're shooting at him and he's holding up the door as a shield.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, where have I seen that before?
I wonder where.
Yeah. Sure, there's no White Widow in this one.
Yeah. So there is one moment of sort of dubious CG that I wasn't super keen on, but I am aware that when they put out trailers, CG isn't always done. I was actually told by James Page when I was doing the James Bond and Friends podcast that a lot of those No Time to Die trailers, the shots of the bridge that he jumps off of, there's like sky replacement and background replacement that changes over the succession of different trailers. Like it's literally, yes, like literally if you go back to the very first trailer and then you watch each successive one, the background changes.
No, we don't want this villa. No, we don't want that villa.
Different villa. That villa's no good.
We don't want a villa. We want a casa now.
So, but I digress. So the thing that I'm talking about is there's a moment in this trailer where Sierra 6, a.k.a. Ryan Gosling, he's running on top of this train or light rail, whatever you want to call it. And it just looks a little funky. There's all this stuff explodey behind him, and he's trying to run away from the whole thing derailing, and then he jumps off at the very end. And it almost looked like when you motion track something, and I know I'm getting into technical jargon here. But
technical away.
But when you do a special effects shot and you motion track the initial shot, if you don't get it right, the thing that you're inserting into the shot will quote unquote slip. And so it doesn't actually look like it no longer looks like it's part of the shot because it doesn't match the motion of the camera.
Right.
And so I got a little bit of that vibe.
Yeah, that's fair.
When I was watching that shot. And so I was a little bit like,
It's like the old compositing shots from back in the days before they had computers, where they would paint an entire background and then they'd have that little piece of glass there where they'd either project the shot through it or they'd blue screen it into it later.
Right.
So you have this motion going on down here at the bottom. Every space scene you ever saw in a movie where you looked inside the bridge before 1993 or 94 where they started using computers to do it, that's what I'm talking about. They film people and then they shrink the image down and cut it into a painting that literally goes on this thing and moves on it. So it always looks warped and distorted.
Right.
And no matter what the camera angle is, it doesn't look convincing because they're trying to basically match up two shots without the benefit of a computer even.
Right.
And you can just tell, fake.
Right.
Fake. Captain Kirk's not actually in that shuttlecraft because that's not real. Although, yes, for all the really technical nerds of our tens of listeners out there, I know that they rear projected that one onto that thing. But you know what I'm saying. It didn't look real. So anyway, moving on.
That's right. Moving on. I love the line in there. You want to make an omelet? You got to kill some people.
Right. And again, anybody but Chris Evans without that mustache.
And it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. But he sells it because he's so deadpan, yet he thinks it's funny. You can tell in that scene he thinks that joke is funny, but he's trying to be serious about it. And all it just makes me think about his character from Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot he's even in that movie.
Yeah. And he's just very serious about himself. Skateboard. Buzzword. You know, just the... Yeah, so honestly, I don't think they could have cast this movie better for what their intent clearly is on the film.
And holy cow, Ryan Gosling looks jacked,
No
dude.
doubt.
Like,
and speaking of, quick segue, did you see the picture of him as the Ken doll for this Barbie movie?
Yeah, that was...
with the six-pack and everything?
Yep.
It's like, were these concurrent? I'm curious now.
They've got to be. He must have went from one movie to the other, and he was still ripped for... I gotta think he did all the training for this movie, and then got the benefit of that when he went over and did the Barbie movie.
Yes, sort of like the whole I'm playing Bane, then I go play a fighter thing that that Tom Hardy did.
Yes, very much so. Then we get a shot of Billy Bob Thornton, who looks really cool.
Yeah, he looks like. I don't know. He looks like I've never seen him look before, so I had to kind of double take and go, is that Billy Bob Thornton? Till he talked, I wasn't 100% sure.
And I really like the fact, I'm really intrigued by the fact that he actually plays a good guy. Mm-hmm. That he plays the ally of Sierra 6, which is super cool, just because normally he's kind of typecast as kind of a seedy guy who you can't always trust.
An anti-hero at the most.
Yeah, he's sort of... You know, you don't quite know where he stands on things, where he clearly seems like, on Sierra 6's side.
For now. It's a spy movie. Nobody seems to be what they seem to be.
Indeed.
I have theories already, but I'm going to save them.
All right. And now, I've been waiting to talk about this. Ana de Armas looks so badass in this.
Right?
The fighting, holy cow, the choreography, just the physical prowess that she shows in those few clips,
right,
in the trailer, look fucking amazing.
Well, she clearly has a penchant for this because look what she did in No Time to Die.
Yeah, that was the warm up.
Yeah. Even Bond was like, only a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this is the main course. Like, she looked incredible,
which makes you have to wonder. Is this going to be something? She's going to go the action hero route?
Right. I mean, is she going to become the next Gal Gadot and have her own type thing?
Possibly. She's not as tall, but still as exotic and can kick ass. Why not? Why not put the two of them in a movie together and they just go spy hard all over the place?
That would be amazing.
But not Spy Hard, because that's a terrible movie. But there are not enough decent women-focused action movies out there.
Absolutely.
And
I get so disappointed too when something I have my hopes up for just sort of fizzles out, like the 355.
Yeah, it turned it just even I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. I couldn't even bear it to.
The last trailer was like trope, tropey, trope. Nope, trope for me.
Yeah.
And that's it. I want to see a whole, if not a wholly original spy film, something that isn't just let's plug in 4 women or 2 women to where we normally plug in 4 guys or 2 guys. I want to see something that is like this, like even with, and granted, I think Gray Man's going to probably be, at the end of the day, it's a spy movie with action, pow, pow, shooty, shooty, but something with a little more substance that allows the actors to
become a character.
Yeah, exactly. Rather
not
than just caricatures. A spy. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, there's my pitch. We'll move on.
And I do still have high hopes for Heart of Stone with Gal Gadot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping that, I know this is an aside, but we've been doing an aside all podcast.
Basically, this whole podcast is an aside. If you think about it, the entirety of the podcast is all about, but you know what? Our reviews. But what about when one of your co-hosts has to go on a tangent for a minute and a half about Star Trek special effects? We are all about asides here.
That's right. But yeah, Gal Gadot looks really good in Heart of Stone. Anyway, I digress. Back to the trailer. Yes, Ana de Armas just looks super awesome. Then we get some shots of the India or Bollywood sensation. He's like huge in India, Dhanush. I believe that's how it's pronounced, Dhanush. He's like the bad guy in it, and there's a couple shots of him fighting Ryan Gosling towards the end of the trailer. So I'm really curious to see. I hope that they utilize him enough, because he clearly has a massive following. Whenever I'm doing stuff for the CIC, when I'm looking at intel stuff online, especially on Twitter, if I look up trending things for the Gray Man, he is all over it. People in India are super psyched for this movie just to see him.
That's good.
So clearly he's got chops. I just haven't seen him in anything. So I'm really hoping that they make good use of him. It's not just some bad cameo.
Well, and he can act the shit out of it, because, I mean, at the end of the day, all the following in the world, if you're not good at what you do, you're going to ruin the movie.
Right.
So, and I don't think he'd be in it. I don't think the Russo brothers would leave him in it if they didn't think he did a good job.
Yeah.
Because they got enough weight right now. They're like, no, we need to go ahead and Eric Stoltz this guy and bring in our Michael J. Fox so we can save the film.
Right. But yeah, overall, I thought it was really good. And again, there's so many little bits of dialogue in this, just in the trailer alone. Every bit of dialogue in the trailer is either witty or interesting.
Absolutely.
It's there for a reason. It's not just, look at us, explodey, splodey, haha.
Right.
It gets better every time I watch it. So yeah, moving on. The final order of the day. This is kind of a new territory for us, but I'm kind of excited about that.
This will be gentle with this and all of those comments and reviews you're going to put out after this podcast.
That's right. Hopefully we don't destroy this. And I know that people who are avid comic collectors do have their opinions about things.
No, we don't. I mean, no, they don't.
So thankfully, I do have an expert with me.
Well, expert is maybe a little extreme. Okay, maybe it's not.
All right. But somebody who knows his stuff.
A little bit. And so because this is new, and this is something we'd like to continue to do, to kind of bring you another media stream to get your spiniest, your spyosity on.
Your spy fix on.
There you go. If you have any suggestions or anything about what you think maybe we could do a little better with it, or if you thought we did, damn, that was the best comic book review we've ever had. You guys should do it all the time. Wish we could. Let us know, because it's all about the feedback from you guys. But anyway, sorry I interrupted. Yeah. Please continue.
Oh, well, anyway. So what we're talking about today is King of Spies. It's a graphic novel, but it was originally a 4-issue series written by Mark Millar of Kingsman fame. He also wrote Wanted. He wrote Old Man Logan. He wrote Captain America: Civil War, the actual comic book. The artwork was by Matteo Scalera, who also did Batman, who's worked on Batman and Daredevil and Deadpool. I thought the artwork was fantastic.
Yeah, the artwork
really works for me.
The artwork is maybe better than the story. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
It's a good story, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's Spies. What else can you do in Spies that hasn't already been?
I would have to agree with that. I think the artwork might actually be better than the story itself. Yeah. Also, credit to the colorist, Giovanna Nero. Mm-hmm. Really
fabulous job.
Really good stuff. I mean, just from the cover to all the stuff on the inside, it just looks, it's so vivid. It's not just sort of thrown together. This stuff is...
Well, and she uses the old style comic book trope of, basically setting that base color to set the tone for things like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of colorists still get lost in everything has to be a derivative of whatever color you're using as a base color. And she does such an amazing job, particularly in the first issue, of really conveying it, but still kind of selling it. The fight on the train scene with the twins, exactly. You get the feel of where you're at. London is always blue and kind of dark and dank, and granted, I don't notice color nearly as much as I notice the pencil artwork because I'm a snob like that.
I'm a pencil guy too.
But this thing is just beautiful to look at from cover to cover, and it's one of those kind of books that you don't need to have words. It's so well written that you can get the storyline.
You can literally get the story just by kind of flipping through things.
Right, exactly. The sequential narrative of it is fantastic. Not that Mark Millar's words are bad. His words are very good.
Yes. And I was actually going to comment on the fact that I do think a lot of the dialogue and some of the, for lack of a better term, VO, even though you can't have VO in a comic book, but essentially it's the narrator.
Yeah.
Just really well written as far as just smart, interesting.
Mark Millar may know his stuff.
He kind of knows his stuff. So let me give you a quick synopsis that I found just to sort of, for those who haven't read anything about this graphic novel just yet. Roland King is a man of many talents. Active since the height of the Cold War, he has toppled regimes, gone toe-to-toe with other spies, seduced his way into private information, and assassinated high-value targets, turning the world into an even more dangerous place than he started with. Now, at the end of his life, Roland wants to right the wrongs and leave behind a better world. His list is long, with every corrupt head of state, every crooked billionaire, and every predator in high places living in fear as Roland ticks them off his list one by one. As the authorities grow frustrated, they decide to fight fire with fire, engaging the services of Atticus King, Roland's son and rival. So that's the basic rundown of the story. It's Roland King, who is now 65. He's no longer an operative of British Secret Service, but he's positioned as like this director of 3 different defense companies that are in cahoots with the British government. So he just sort of connects people to people at this point. But meanwhile, he now has a tumor. I think it's like a brain tumor. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
It's a tumor.
Yeah.
It's not a tumor. No, it's a tumor.
The point of it is he's got 6 months to live. So, and the way that he looks in this, boy, he is a spitting image of
Jason Greenberg.
Of current Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
he is a dead ringer for Pierce Brosnan.
From the TV show that he's on now, with the cowboy dealing with the mustache and the beard.
I mean, it is just dead ringer. I kind of wonder if Mark Millar sort of asked Mateo to make him look a little bit like that, because because one of the other reasons that we are covering this is the fact that this is optioned at Netflix. So this could very well become a movie, probably directed by Matthew Vaughn.
It's not even optioned. It's owned by Netflix.
Right. And so they can do it. They can use it whenever they want or not, depending on how things go.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would have reason to believe that Matthew Vaughn would do it, since, he's worked with Millar several times, although we'll have to see how Argyle turns out. Because if that's a disaster, then they might turn a page and go somewhere else.
Or he may not have any other outlets other than Netflix.
That's right. Indeed. So, but I do think visually Pierce Brosnan looks just like this guy. But this character is a bastard.
And a badass.
He's a super badass. He is grizzled. The whole idea behind this is that he's kind of this guy that's looking back on his life and having tons and tons of regret. All the missions he's done where he realized he was fighting for the wrong thing, or all the mistakes he made in his marriage, neglecting his kid and cheating on his wife, and all the horrible things that he now feels terrible about, and he doesn't know how to right those wrongs at this point because he only got 6 months to live. It's kind of almost impossible to undo that sort of thing. But I go back to what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if Pierce Brosnan is the right guy to act that, to be that guy. I don't know if he can pull off being quite that big of a bastard.
And I would I would have to agree with you.
I think 15, 20 years ago, a grizzled Sean Connery could have done it in spades.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just don't, I'm trying to think of anything I've seen Pierce Brosnan be cold-eyed in.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this TV show that he's in, I hear he's kind of a bastard in this show.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. He's so jovial about things, right?
Right.
It's hard to get that Remington Steele flavor out of your mouth because that's what he's always kind of been to me.
Right.
That's what he was in Mrs. Doubtfire. It's what he kind of was as James Bond.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the suave, debonair guy.
Now, the good thing about Pierce Brosnan, though, is that he still looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so this movie starts in a flashback that is in 1990.
Right.
So you could probably take a good 15 years off of Pierce Brosnan and just dye his hair back to its original color and shave everything. And he would pull off Pierce Brosnan era 1990, or close enough that...
With a little bit of CGI.
With a little bit of CG, a little bit of that Irishman magic or
sure.
Whatever that...
The thing is, I think he's so good for this that he's probably not good for it.
Right.
You need somebody who can
obvious.
sell the action.
Yeah.
A little bit more. And I don't think he was very actiony when he was young enough to do action.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the 70s now? He's definitely not.
I think he just turned 69, I think.
So, I mean...
But, yeah.
Not that he can't, but since he's not a guy who's been doing that his entire career,
mm-hmm.
I feel like you need that person. I feel like you need someone who's 50 that can play 70, but can also play 30 or early 40s.
That's probably a good shout.
I'm not going to say Henry Cavill because he's not quite 50,
mm-hmm.
but if you could get him to look older convincingly, which you'd have to do for the majority of the film,
right.
He would be the kind of guy. He's big, he's bulky,
mm-hmm.
he can rock a stash. We all know that. Or somebody of that ilk. You need somebody basically, I'm going to say, early 40s to very early 50s
mm-hmm.
that can play both sides of it, but can still play and act like they're in their 30s
right.
when it's necessary. Because these days, again, sorry, Roger, nobody... or doesn't do their own stunts anymore.
Right. Or at least
the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe. But in the day-to-day, we got to get your face in the scene. You got to be willing to go get in there and get your face in the scene.
Right.
Grizzled Mel Gibson, anyone? Just kidding.
Oh. I'm going to steer clear of that one. But yeah, we'll see what happens as far as if this becomes a movie or anything like that.
Yeah.
So some of the other people in this thing, we've got a character who is essentially now in the role of M, who is Roland's friend named Figgy, who, I don't know.
Like you just say that Figgy is what you figure he's going to be.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. I mean,
right. I mean, we don't want to give away the whole thing. You can probably come to your own conclusions pretty quickly about.
The character is more or less extended extrapolation, just like any M character really is.
Right.
Get you some background on the character, the main character,
mm-hmm.
helps move the story along.
Right.
It's just basically a mustachioed plot device.
Yeah.
But very funny. The artist's style is somewhat reminiscent of Greg Capullo, who is most famously known for doing Batman with Scott Snyder writing for about, 80 or 90 years. Whose style is very reminiscent of Frank Miller, if Frank Miller actually drew instead of just scribbled everything onto a page.
I actually really like Greg Capullo.
Yeah, Greg Capullo is pretty fantastic. But Mateo's style is very similar to that. So there are some scenes in it where I see characters that remind me of either Capullo or from Frank
mm-hmm.
Miller. And particularly Figgy looks very much like Frank Miller's idea of what any bureaucrat looks like.
Right.
And so there's a couple of scenes when I'm like, oh, look, it's the mayor of Gotham City from Dark Knight Returns. Anyway.
And then we also have, of course, Atticus King, who is Roland's son. He's just this cocky field operative for MI6. I thought that Aidan Turner might be a good shout, since everybody wants him as Bond anyway. Yeah. He'd be a good shout for Atticus, especially if you could almost believe that Aidan Turner is the son of Pierce Brosnan. Close enough in looks.
I look at him and I'm like, oh, that's definitely Tom Hiddleston.
That too. That could work very, very easily. Yeah, for sure. It's so hard to know too. Just essentially comic book artists are giving their impression, but it's not, it's hard to know who Mark Millar sees in his head.
This is true. And at the end of the day, it's going to depend on who wants to do it, who is actually doing it, what their regards are. I mean, I know Millar, this is part of his production deal with Netflix. So I'm sure he has input, but the director decides the casting, the producers decide the casting. There's a lot of voices that go into it. And let's face it, it's Netflix. This thing's probably not going to get on Netflix for like 10 years, and then they're just going to make Ryan Reynolds do it because apparently he's the only person they put on movies on Netflix anymore is Ryan Reynolds. And okay, I'd watch that, but it certainly wouldn't be a very good version of the book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
We could let Taron Egerton get a little older and then put a mustache on him.
That'd be pretty cool.
Or maybe Colin Firth. We know he can do action.
The other alternative thought I had about the main character, though, as far as casting, if you didn't go with Pierce, is the guy from what's the movie with the guy? He's the guy that used to be like a CIA agent type guy, and he's retired, and he's like living in the suburbs with his kids.
Nobody.
Yes.
With the guy Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk.
From Better Call Saul.
Yes. Bob Odenkirk, I think, might be able to pull off the role of Roland King.
He's not English enough.
And he's too fit.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, well.
He's a little too fit.
His ticker isn't. But I just listened to an interview with him on a different podcast, and he's in his 60s, so I don't know.
Yeah, hard to say.
I don't know.
It is a tricky one casting this if this does go to movie.
Again, you're going to have to cast someone that can play old, but isn't.
Yeah.
Because you're going to want to be able to convincingly show them. Granted, there's enough facial hair on this character, you could probably sneak in the stunt guy without it being too noticeable.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think you want somebody that you can get those close-ups on and really appreciate it. Because, I mean, if you follow more or less shot by shot on the book, mostly you see his face in everything. And I know that you do that in comic books, but if you decide to Zack Snyder this bitch up as a movie and basically shoot every scene as each individual square,
literally
in
use the comic book as your storyboard.
Yeah, this is your storyboard. We're doing each one of these shots.
Yeah,
you got to have somebody who's going to have good screen presence and that can actually pull off most of what they're doing.
Yeah,
that's my thing. Now, I don't want anybody to think that because we've talked more about making a movie of this book than the actual book, that it's not good. It is very good. It reads very quickly.
Yes.
Which has always been kind of for me, that means it's a good comic book. If you zip through it to the point where you have to go back and reread it because you feel like you missed something, that's a good book. Ones where you have to slog through because you can't, it's too much dialogue or it's just a bunch of babble that you don't care about, or the artwork is sketchy. Those are ones where you're kind of like, I'm just going to finish this so I know what happens.
Right.
It's so hard to jump to the end of a comic book and figure out what's going on sometimes.
Yeah.
But this one was just a delight to look at. I found myself pausing from time to time just to kind of appreciate what was being done in the thing.
I had no trouble reading this twice.
No, not at all.
No trouble whatsoever.
And as someone who likes to draw, but fancied himself a comic book artist when he was younger, but never actually did anything about it, I always like to complain about how much people are better than me. And seemed like every damn panel there, I'm like, screw you, Mateo, showing off that you can do a job that I don't know how to do.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. I mean, all the way through. I feel like actually just one other character that I do want to touch on. So there is in the flashback in the beginning, there are these brother and sister twins that make a reappearance later on in the book.
In the most ridiculous Mark Millar kind of way, by the way.
And only somebody like Matthew Vaughn could pull off transferring that into film and making it somehow not the most preposterous thing you've ever seen. Because it's pretty comic booky, like to a point of, well, that's never going to make it to the film.
Right. But
yet
it has to, because it's the one thing in it that stands out super visually.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, too, is that every good spy movie needs a good henchman.
Yes.
Or hench people in this case. Hench persons. So, yeah, this this brother and sister team that Roland fights back in Panama City in 1990, and then they come back later on. It is something else. Actually, the whole flashback is so fantastical.
Yes.
There is a moment, I'm not going to say any more than it's a moment that happens in an ambulance. That's all I'm going to say. It's the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever seen in a comic book, and that's saying something. It's crazy. It is out, and that part, there's no, well, maybe it would wind up in a movie, but
it has to. It absolutely has to. If any fans of this book that didn't see it, are gonna riot.
If it's not in the movie,
yes.
It kind of reminds me of some of the super crazy shit that was in what's that Clive Owen one where he's chomping on the carrots?
Oh, we just had this
Shoot 'em
discussion.
Up.
Yes,
it's kind of the way Shoot 'em
definitely.
Like Shoot 'em Up is the closest equivalent of a movie that would be like this comic book is.
Clive Owen needs to play Roland.
That's a good shout, actually. He might be able to. He's certainly free.
yeah, not doing a whole lot. Him and Gerard Butler, they could use the work.
Yeah, Gerard Butler might be in better shape for it, though.
He might, but I feel like Clive Owen would pull off the character better.
He's got a better accent, I think.
He's just got better acting, Chuck. Because I've said before that I think Clive Owen should have been James Bond.
Yes.
Instead of Daniel Craig. Not that I think they made a bad choice for Daniel Craig. I loved everything he's done. But when they were looking, I was so wanting him to get the role.
I did too, actually. I remember that back then.
And then they brought in Towhead Danny and everybody,
people
lost
rioted.
their minds.
People rioted.
And then
he
went back and said, "How about you let me show you what I could do first, you dipshits?"
And then he went off and made arguably the best James Bond movie there is.
I would argue the best James Bond movies that have ever been made. But, I'm biased.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress once again.
Indeed.
Just overall, the comic book I thought was fantastic. I do think it's weird that it kind of swings back and forth wildly because every once in a while you get kind of depressed reading this because he really gets into, there's a lot of flashing back to like all the mistakes that he feels like he's made, all these like horrible decisions in his life that he regrets. And it's a little bit of it's a little tough to digest. And the way that they try and help you, the spoonful of sugar to help you swallow it is him killing all these horrible people, sort of describing all the bad things that they did.
Right.
And why he's taking them out. So you get this sort of gratuitous, watching all these bad guys die in horrible ways.
Right. But it's almost cathartic for you as the reader watching these heinous acts of violence. You can justify saying, well, this guy's had this in him for a long time.
Right.
So no wonder he's being so ridiculous about this nonsense.
Yes.
He's just cleaning his palate out.
Yeah. So again, if they make a movie, I wonder if they'll be able to keep it as straightforward as it is, or if they'll have to add some sort of twist or maybe a B story, just something else, because it is a very straightforward.
Yeah, but Netflix makes straightforward stuff. Their whole thing is about letting the content producers produce whatever content they want to produce.
Right.
If it's marketable,
Now, I will say, though, Matthew Vaughn took an awful lot of liberties with the original Kingsman comic book and changed it up to enough to make it more movie ready.
But he also had a lot more influence on how the comic book came out. He was in collaboration with Millar on that.
That is true.
So I don't know that he necessarily changed it other than that I'm taking the concept and going this route. You're taking the concept and going this route. So it was as much his ideas as it was Millar's ideas. And yeah, you're absolutely right. He made a movie version of the same idea that maybe not necessarily follow the comic book because you have to make some exceptions. But he was also doing it. I can't remember who produced Kingsman, but he's doing it for a big studio. There's other. Netflix has the reputation of letting people make what they want to make. Here's the money. We trust your creative direction.
Now, I wonder if that's going to change now that there's all these stories right now that Netflix is losing money big time.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to tighten up their pocketbooks and be a little bit more controlling.
Maybe
or if that's
not.
going to be the thing that sends them even into worse territory.
I don't know. Did you see the movie with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot? Clearly nobody's constraining anybody on anything. Hey, what if we made Indiana Jones? But we're going to use Ryan Reynolds. Okay. And we're going to bring in The Rock. Hey, I'm listening.
And Gal Gadot.
Man, you sold me. You don't want to hear the rest of the story? No.
Nope, just go make it.
Does he have a whip? No whip. Even better. So
here's $200 million. Go.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yes, honestly, I think that Netflix would stop producing movie content before Netflix is going to start telling people how to make movie content. If it's a budget decision and we got to keep things rolling, we're just a streaming network, they're going to cut all the making movies out, and that'll just be that. That's the end of it.
They'll just do their bread and butter, which is just pulling in series and movies from other places, and
they could take King of
re-airing
Spies, get a studio to produce it, have an agreement that it only runs on Netflix for an extended period of time, and then gets released into the wild to other people to watch it eventually.
Yeah.
That would be, they go back to the more traditional way of marketing things where
Right.
they don't necessarily bankroll it, but they do own the property, so these are our considerations.
Yeah.
Honestly, if this thing gets made, it's going to get made just like it is. A 4-issue comic book is designed to be a 2-hour movie, maybe 3, if you want to make a movie into it. Anybody who's read comic books for long enough knows that they're all basically movies, but single frames.
Yeah.
And most people structure them that way, especially when you've got the limitation of 4 issues. Now, you can't do an entire Batman movie for his entire run, right? Starting, I am the Avenger of the Night, all the way to right now. Woo, all those Court of Owls and /17 Jokers and how many Batmobiles later? So yeah, I think if it ever gets to that point, it'll be pretty straightforward, pretty enjoyable. Everything we want to be in it is going to be in it. Probably not Pierce Brosnan.
Probably not. He probably wants too much money.
I don't know where he's at. Maybe he's taking projects because they're interesting. Who knows?
That's true. That is true.
But yeah, it's a good read. It's a quick read. The artwork is gorgeous. You'll want to reread it more than once. I highly recommend it.
I do too. Absolutely.
Even if you don't.
Even if you're not like a huge comic book person, but if you are into spy movies, this is a great read.
Absolutely. And
it's an easy read. You're not going to get bogged down in over.
It's not thinky. It doesn't prolesitize. It just tells you a story of a guy trying to right wrongs with lots of splody things.
The other thing that I really like about it, and I feel like this doesn't spoil anything because we already told the listeners that this guy has 6 months to live. It's finite. And that's what I also really like about it. It's not going to make concessions so that you can then make a sequel to it. It's one-off and done.
Right.
And I think that would add quality to a movie.
Agreed. However, one little point I'll bring in. You bring in the guy that can play younger and older. You have plenty of options to go with Roland the early years, right?
Yeah, you could do a prequel. You could go back to Roland King.
This is my other reasoning behind you put in the middle of the road guy.
So then he can go back and play young Roland King.
Absolutely. And then flash back to the old one if you felt like you needed to go that route. He's on his death. Well, I guess he's not on his deathbed in here. But you also have the option of bringing Atticus in for sequels if you really wanted to.
Right.
So there's options there if you want to go that route. Let's hope they don't decide to go full Kingsman and just produce utter garbage that, let's be honest, kind of sullied the brand.
Yeah.
Hey, Kingsman review coming soon to a theater near you.
Well, and I mean, that's why I'm a little leery about Argyle, to be quite honest.
I think anything that's rooted squarely in the decade it's supposed to be rooted into should be okay.
Yeah.
It's not like it's trying to pull out of something that we've established as being current.
Right.
And I think that was you're connecting too many dots. Mm-hmm. And then Argyle's not connecting any dots other than the dots where they plugged in that fake hair in the wig that Henry Cavill's wearing.
That was okay. Anyway. So that's about all I have to say about the book, unless you have any further thoughts.
I got it. Get it, read it. So it's The King of Spies by Mark Millar, Matteo Scalera. It is published by Image Comics. And here's the thing. Usually when they do like the first books, the Image is usually cheaper than what they normally release for stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Not bad. Cover price, $16.99. I'm sure you can find it anywhere. Mm-hmm. But I would say if you're going to buy the book, and you should, go to your local comic book shop and support those guys. Amazon has tons of money, will sell it to you for a lot cheaper, but they aren't trying to keep the lights on and keep 11-year-olds who love comic books, giving them a place to go to.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Everybody's got a comic book shop in town, or go to a local bookstore that may carry this as well,
right?
And support them. I certainly buy my share of stuff from the big giants and things like that, but I do try to get my comic book purchases when I buy them physically from somebody that I support. We have a couple of good local ones out here that I will usually buy from before I go anywhere else.
Indeed. So, yeah, if you have read King of Spies and you want to comment on what you thought of the book, please get in touch with us because, as always, we are always looking for listener interaction.
We certainly are.
To tell us how you like the podcast or if you have any ideas. So please, drop us a line. We've got email, cicdeaddrop@gmail.com. We're on Instagram at Central Intelligence Cinema, separated by underscores. Or on the Twitter. I'm always on Twitter, man. At CIC Spy Pod. So please get in touch with us and let us know what you think, what you thought of the idea of a comic book review in general. I'd be curious to know.
Like I said, it was our first attempt, and if you felt like we talked too much about movies, not enough about books, let us know. We'll fine tune as we go along, because like I said, this is something I think we want to keep running, the more literary aspect of things. And since Ben's really the only one who can read without pictures, we aren't going to be doing a lot of novels, but graphic novels.
That is not true.
Jason can get through. And hey, listen, guys, we talked about this at the beginning. We joke about it every single time. But if you do enjoy the podcast, and if you're listening at this point, you're enjoying something, I think that's safe to assume.
If you're still listening at this minute, whatever minute this happens to be happening on,
you're enjoying the podcast, or at least making fun of us to your friends while you're listening.
Right.
Please help us out by giving us that glowing 5-star review that we always ask for on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your content, so that our show gets seen by more people who enjoy the irreverence. And how did you say it? 100% organic, homegrown, no fillers.
That's right.
Podcasting that we provide. Handcrafted artisan that we provide. You never know. Say something nice.
We have no assistant editor. We have no editor. Well, I'm the editor.
You are the editor, but not for this podcast. Well, actually, you are the editor.
No, I am the editor for this podcast.
That is
Trust
true.
me.
Yes, you are. That's why we sound so professional. Certainly not the content. But anyway, leave us the review. Give us the 5 stars. You never know. You might get a little something extra from the undisclosed location.
That's right.
Things happen.
Q Branch just shipped us in some interesting little bits of swag, so
exactly.
We might just have to send you something.
Pay attention, 007. This is a magnet.
You can put it on your refrigerator.
Exactly. If it's made out of metal, it will stick to it and not fall off.
You can attach your grocery list to it.
Now, 007, this is what they call a keychain.
Does what you put your key on, so it doesn't fall through the cracks of things.
Absolutely, and it will sit in your pocket uncomfortably while you try and move other things around to the point you're like, why do I need a keychain?
Exactly.
And also, potential exists for the stickers, which are not only great for sticking on things, but they're also good for covering up cameras when you jump up to the top of a wall and you don't want to be seen going down on the other side of that wall.
That's right.
So,
while you're finding out how tall that wall is.
Exactly. So I'm not saying that it could happen, but Q Branch is very surprising. You never know. Anything's possible.
They also they're perfectly sized to cover up the Apple logo on your laptop.
Not as if that was intentional.
Nope, not at all. So, with that, I'm Ben.
And I'm Jason.
And the CIC will return with more missions, more martinis,
and more mayhem.